You think that I'm going to give a story to Radar Online? Alright. This is Troy J Robertson back with FabFitFun for episode 12, a recap of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, darling. She. Alert! We have a new interview look. Erica Jane served us a soft glam face with a half up, half down big body hair with a soft pink white pearl or white studded sweater. It was everything. So we had a new interview look last night from Erica Jane and it was a look. This week's It's a Look, however, is going home to Dorit as she walked into lunch with PK to meet Ken and Lisa. She had this silk button-down blouse on, all black everything with a gold chain belt, and then she had these vintage Jackie O sunglasses on, short blonde bob. It was everything. She was fierce. I loved it. Dorit, it's a look. This week's quote of the night is, well, I actually don't have a quote of the night this week, so I'm going to pick one of my favorite quotes from the season so far. It's one that I can't stop saying. I'm going to give a story to Radar Online from Lisa Vanderpump a few episodes ago. It's just the inflection in it, it's her British tone, it's the way she says Radar Online, it's her enunciation, it's her diction. I just think that this might be one of those quotes that just like follows all the way through, kind of like Kyle Richards season 1, you're such a liar, Camille, or Taylor season 2 with, if you can't be my friend, just please don't be my enemy. Troy's titillating topics. Lisa Rinna in that workout video from 2008, a full 10, 11 years ago. Those were some moves, iconic hair, and it was just everything. I think that she might be giving Phaedra Parks' Donkey Booty and Kenya Moore Stallion Booty workout video a run for their money. Titillating topic number 2. Kyle admits that she practices attachment parenting. I don't know if that's an actual term. I don't know if that's in a parenting book somewhere. All I know is that I wasn't surprised when she said this, and I'm not gonna judge anyone else's style of parenting because what works for your house might not work for another house. I know for me, personally, I will not be practicing attachment parenting because I have attachment issues myself, so I won't be worrying about my kids sleeping in my bed with me until I'm 10 years old. I'm gonna be worried about breaking down the moment they don't want to sleep in my bed anymore because I have validation issues. So I thought that this was adorable when she walked into Portia's room to feed her breakfast. Portia was nowhere to be found. The bed was completely made. And then she goes and grabs this big, long 10-year-old out of her and Mauricio's bed. And it's just like, it's her last baby. Like, everyone knows that I'm obsessed with Portia. So cute. Rinna discussing the camping trip coming up. And listen, honey, I am with you on this one. She's very, very nervous. She doesn't want to be cold. She doesn't want to be uncomfortable. And I'm going to have to say, I'm also not an outdoorsy person myself, Rinna. I do not like the outdoors. I'm not a nature nurturer. And my idea of camping is staying at a Holiday Inn. Okay? So here's the thing. I would be as reluctant as you. This week's episode, Camille and Denise meet for lunch, and Camille was not holding back her opinions on some of the other ladies. So I want to hear what all of you think before I get into it. What does everyone think about Camille's boldness and her being so vocal this season and her having so many interview looks too? Does production have a little something up their sleeve this season with Camille? She has been a friend of the housewife for many, many years now since she stopped being a full-time housewife, I think after season 2. I think that her role is increased. It's very similar to like a Marlo on Atlanta, where she's no longer just a guest of the show, she's considered a friend, which is above a guest, but below a housewife. I wanna hear what everyone thinks about this with Camille this season. So as Camille and Denise are talking, she brings up what happened the other night with Kyle, and she's talking about how she feels like Teddy needs to have a seat. Teddy's a know-it-all. Teddy's youth is getting the best of her. She's acting like an entitled millennial, and I'm like, okay, Camille, let us know how you really feel about Teddy Bear. And then she also gets into this thing with Dorit, and listen, I don't know, I think that Camille's give a damn is busted because she has been savage on camera this season. Last night's episode, we saw the lunch where, you know, it's kind of like the State of the Union lunch. PK and Dorit are meeting Ken and Lisa at Pump for lunch, even though Pump doesn't serve lunch, so they had to cater in some sushi. But they meet them there, and nevertheless, I mean, they get right into it. Leading up to the lunch, though, PK is saying, I just want you and Lisa to be able to come to some sort of compromise. And that statement is very, very telling, because that would be how a normal conversation or relationship would kind of work. Like, let's agree to disagree, let's compromise, I'll meet you halfway, here's an olive branch, let's both grab it. Instead, Dorit and PK get to the lunch, and Ken and Lisa just give this huge ultimatum. If you think that Lisa did this, we have no friendship. And that is just a huge condition. And I don't feel like in true friendships there should be major conditions like that. I would also just like to say that Ken, I don't feel like is helping matters in this situation with the entire doggy drama situation, the entire season. I think that Ken loves his wife, and I think he is a ride or die husband. I think he is supporting her, but he is literally on the sideline with a fire poker, like poking the fire. Like, he is just poking the fire. He's fueling it. He's got a gas can. He's dumping it in. He's coming in with a BP truck, and he is just spilling the oil everywhere. I adore him. I think that he is way too involved in this, though, and I don't know. Just moving forward, I know that they have a genuine friendship, so that makes matters a little bit murky with regards to filming and what we know and the husband's involvement, and I know that that's a very controversial topic from a franchise standpoint. But for Ken to put Lisa on such a pedestal to say she's the best friend you could ever have, she's not a liar, she doesn't lie, she's the most honest person you'll ever meet. I just think that that's really grandiose. Again, supportive husband till death do us part. I get it, he loves her, he rides for her, but we're all human, we all have our flaws, and I think that it's just not helping matters. By the end, they're really trying to stifle, I feel, Dorit's opinion about the entire situation and her entire thought process, as well as her integrity as she's maintaining. And so Lisa and Ken are saying, if you believe that this is true, we cannot be friends with you. Then they ask PK what he thinks, and PK says, I don't think it was you, but I think it came from your camp. And that is what I have been maintaining. That's what a lot of people have been maintaining. The leak is coming from her side. Now, Lisa Vanderpump is saying, I'm telling you, on my kid's life, I did not give that story, and I do not know who did. Now, this is a very tricky statement, because if you believe that Lisa Vanderpump did leak this story, it's very similar to what she said a few seasons ago on The Reunion, which I brought up before. I do not sell stories to Radar online. And so while it was found out that she didn't sell that story about Adrian, and that it was actually Adrian's chef or her cook that leaked that story. The devil's in the details, it's all in the verbiage. I did not sell the story. She doesn't need the money, she would just give a story. And so in this situation, she's saying, I did not give the story, nor do I know who gave this story. She's not saying no one in my camp did. She is not confirming that. And so that's where it gets a little murky there with the wording. When it comes down to it, they're really wanting Dorit to come down off of what she is saying. And, you know, Lisa Vanderpump is saying, say it, come on, say it. And Dorit is maintaining, she's like, it is difficult for me to believe that you did not give this story. PK has said, I think it comes from your camp. By the end of the lunch, Ken and Lisa have decided they can be friends with PK, they cannot be friends with Dorit. In this situation, I wanted PK to ride a little bit more for Dorit. I want to know what all of you think. Like, did he kind of back down when he kind of got pushed into a corner? Like, should he have sided with his wife more? Should he have sided with what he thinks is right? I want to know what you all think here. Let me know down below in the comments about what you think with PK's stance with his wife Dorit in this situation. Here's the thing too. I think that regardless of who leaked this story, I think that Lisa Vanderpump has been a little disappointed and seemingly annoyed with Dorit the past couple of seasons. I think that this was a really good opportunity for her to find some sort of ammunition to cut ties with her. Now, I'm not saying that that is a bad thing on Lisa Vanderpump's part. I just don't think that she likes Dorit as much as she likes PK. And that's all that I'm gonna say. All of the ladies, except Vanderpump, of course, are meeting for a happy hour before they go on this RV trip. And, you know, the entire situation comes up from last week after the concert, and Kyle is saying to Dorit, listen, I didn't really get an apology from PK. I didn't like what he said. Why would he say that? And then they get into this entire thing where they're talking about everyone's level of friendship and who's closer to Lisa Vanderpump or not. And so Kyle brings up something that I think is a little important. It's a very speculative, but I think that it's important to think about because we do need to rule this out. As Dorit is talking about their level of friendship and how long they've been friends with Lisa and Ken, Kyle is saying, listen, essentially she's saying, before you came on the show, I never heard Lisa or Ken talk about you, and I've been friends with them for 8 to 10 years, let's say. Probably 10 to 15, I'm not quite sure the timeline. Kyle is kind of saying, I don't know where this close friendship is coming from. I don't know why PK is standing by them so much during this entire situation. You're his wife. Kyle is speculating that there's some sort of secret that they all know from London back in the day, or there might be some business venture that like PK and Dorit really want to protect because they're trying really hard to just put this behind them, even though Ken and Lisa are giving them this ultimatum. And then Kyle has gone to bat for them. And so there's something behind the curtain, and it might be a wizard, and it might be some secret from, I don't know, the London Abbey, let's say. This whole competition with the friendship and the level of friendship with Lisa Vanderpump is so odd to me too. And it's something that was discussed last season and in previous seasons, I believe, and it's like everyone vying for Lisa's #1 spot. Like if MySpace was still a thing, everyone seems to be gunning for that like top row and that #1, #2, #3 spot on your top 8 friends. Camille just comes out and is savage, and she's like, listen, before 2 years ago, I never heard of you or PK. And I thought that was the wildest thing, one of the wildest things that Camille has ever said. Like, I never heard of you until 2 years ago. I think that some of us might agree. I don't know. That's not to be shady, but it's just to say they're wondering where this friendship and this deep friendship is coming from because no one ever heard them talk about them. That is it for this week's episode 12 recap of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I want to do this week's Rose and Thorn. So this week's Rose is Lisa Vanderpump hosting an event to support the decriminalization of homosexuality in India. I thought that this was a really great cause and absolutely necessary. This week's Thorn, conversely, is that the ladies all aren't on good terms with her right now. So this wasn't a filming moment where we were able to see an entire party. I just feel like this would have been another moment for Kyle to pull her annual center splits. Because of the issues in the rift in the group, we weren't able to see this big lavish party. We only saw like a 15-second clip of it. So that's this week's Thorn. As always, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to FabFitFun's videos for tons more content with FabFitFun and every single episode of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills recap with me, Troy J Robertson. I will see you all back next week. Thanks so much for tuning in. Comment down below. Talk to me. I'm going to talk back. Have a great week. Over and out.